So my first question to you is: Have you seen or played the game?
I had never played the game. I've always heard a lot about the game. I heard people talk extensively about the game, but I never played it at all. I haven't been a big gamer in
Right.
like a decade, so I didn't
Right.
know
So,
any. I didn't know details on it. I just knew a
right.
concept.
So that means both of us are kind of coming as pretty much from what we're seeing on the screen and
Right.
the entertainment value as a TV show, not just saying,
Yes.
well, this is great because it does this for the game and it's connected to that for the game. Um, However, what it does do is it kind of backs up the theory that I've kind of sprouted many times about sticking to the source material,
Right.
whether it's J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings or J.R. Martin's stuff or Star Wars with George Lucas. The closer you can stick to the inspiration of where the stuff comes from, the more likely it's going to be good because
Right.
there was something in that book or something in that game or something in that
Story
IP
overall,
that caught
the
someone's
connection.
attention, and you need
Right.
to be able to plug into that. So, um, this one has done that in spades.
Like
Um,
this might be. So I think previously we all were saying that people were, I guess, in somewhat unison on that Sonic the Hedgehog was probably the best video game movie adaptation that had been made uh, in a while, if not ever. I don't,
right.
because we know for a fact video game adaptations have not worked almost consistently.
Yeah.
Almost consistently between Yul Bull's terrible depictions of literally every game to
Yeah.
Mario, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, even though it's a cult classic, is not necessarily true
Yeah.
to the game itself. Even the one with the trolls, not Diablo, World of Warcraft, not
Right.
even one
Right.
that was really accurate. So, and even I think even the latest iteration that WB did with Uncharted was very, very mixed.
Right.
Um,
Oh no,
mixed
that wasn't.
reviews on it.
Yeah, that wasn't very
Yeah,
good.
it was very generic to me. So
Yes.
you have
Very.
this one situation that speaks to your theory that they stuck to the source material. They've in reviews and explanations that speak on it, you see that they've really made sure that they made sure to maintain the same base story, but what they changed was the surrounding around it,
Right.
basically adding more layers into the why as opposed
Right.
to just impacting the what, which I think has been really good because I have a
Yep.
fear. I would have had a fear that this was going to fall into Walking Dead territory, and
Yes, absolutely.
I was
I
not looking forward to
absolutely
that.
shared your fear on that. I just thought, here it is, another apocalyptic zombies series coming out. This looks as done to death as anything we've seen in the last
Yeah,
20 years in film and television. And the Walking Dead's a great example because I came out, I checked out in season 6 when I was just
yeah,
bored to tears. Um, and what this series, what I see it doing so far, and again, I don't know how much this is connected to the games, but what I've liked, what it's done is that the first thing it did is had that on episode 1, is it had the scientist in 1968 talking about the fungi.
yes.
Um,
I thought that was such a great context setup for
yeah.
everything.
And the fungi, and then of course the second episode was in Jakarta, not far from where I live,
Mm-hmm.
uh, very close in Indonesia, and it builds on the fungi. It builds on this idea of what this thing is and what it's going to become. Now, I don't know too many series that relate to zombies, whether it be a television or film, that go out of its way right from the start to establish that this thing is going to evolve and it's going to get more complicated, it's going to get more difficult. It's going to become really, really the challenge is to overcome this fungi. Like
Right.
and what that does is it kind of, we start seeing it and we know it's coming because it's a video series. We see it the very early stages of this thing, people just freaking
Right.
out with little bits of thing coming out of their mouth. But we're going to see this thing evolve. We've already seen these clickers, I think people have called them.
Yep.
And we know that it's just going to get worse. The groundwork has been set forth for that to happen, right? They're saying, right, this thing is going to evolve and this thing is going to get worse. And
Right.
again, we kind of know because it's a video game, right? Of course, things are
Right.
going to get worse. The stakes are going to get higher, which does make you wonder why it's these video movies are so terrible. But because it's great for film, but it's going to evolve, and they've put that down right in the first two episodes, right? So if
Right.
you think about a lot of these zombie films, you think about a lot of these zombie series, they kind of start off and they're the same old, they're the same old, they're the same old, and it's sort of like an after. Oh, we better evolve this virus. We better evolve what the zombies can do.
Yeah.
It's almost an afterthought, though.
And that's the thing. Even in this, it always creates a suspension of disbelief in how they end up forcing those viruses to evolve into what would manifest as so and so zombieism. But I've always, again, it's always been a little bit problematic to me because it's like it never really makes sense. Again, I have to suspend my belief for this repetitive virus, which a virus in and of itself is just trying to survive. So the constant deterioration doesn't make sense over a period of time, a lot of times. But utilizing the idea of this fungus, which is something that one, I think, has made a lot of sense in terms of how we understand fungi function in the world. The interconnection that they have. We know that even now we see that fungi and trees have long networks of connection with each other.
Yeah.
So this element, and then obviously the idea of the zombie fungi that zombifies small animals, that does exist in real life. So I think the more that you drop these things into reality, the more these things get dropped into reality, the more it's easier to connect into the possibility of this happening, even if that level of evolution would require a major jump. But then you of course have climate change issues that we already are facing now. So now you're just like, oh my gosh, now I have real stakes in this. And this kind of also speaks to one of the reasons why I feel like horror movies have never been able to really hit the same way it did maybe in the 70s and maybe early 80s, because at that point in time, the way that they connected to our fears were based off of our assumption of what the future could be. And so we were more afraid of what we manifested versus what was. And so it's easy to make things like The Exorcist freaky and the zombie and vampire movies. But now, because we've had so much of this content, it's like, okay, we need to we know the games that Squick through, and now we need to make everything now grounded in our reality now. And these elements have a factual base. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually had brought on like actual researchers to add to the storyline to be like, yeah, this is the direction where it goes. And as I said, these parts weren't necessarily a part of the original game story. So now they've done the cardinal rule. Don't make a movie exactly book by book the same as your original source material. You want to use it as an inspiration, but they have done a good job so far in balancing inspiration with innovation.
And the thing about all this stuff with this kind of this fungi and all the stuff that they're doing, and this kind of laying down the foundations for what's going to be pretty freaky monsters. Like,
right?
This is
oh my god, yeah, those clickers are like everything about it. I'm just like, yo, they're so strong. I do not want them to touch me ever. And also, by the way, love the fact that they have the different realms of how long it takes for people to transform after getting bit in certain areas.
So, but none of this makes any difference unless, of course, the characters are good, and unless this, and because we've got Pedro killing it again.
Pedro Pascal is man.
He's the man.
And he couldn't be better because he's actually pretty bloody good at what he's already doing.
Well, he knows how to take little cute people around the universe, whether it be Grogu or whether it be Ellie, and he's
get him from point A to point B.
Get him from point A to
he
point
really
B.
does. This man is the ultimate transporter.
He is the ultimate bounty hunter. Come transporter, come whatever. He gets the job done, and he's killing in that. Someone pointed out in that last episode, episode 2, when he says goodbye to his lover,
Yeah.
it's like, see ya. He looks at her and he turns around and just runs. He doesn't hug her. He doesn't do nothing. This guy knows what it needs to do to survive this
Yep.
world. And hanging around for goodbyes is not one of them.
It's deadly.
It's deadly. And we've got obviously Ellie there. You know, what was it? The little bear from Game of Thrones.
Ellie. God, I forgot what her name
Her
is, but
name's
Lady
Bella.
Baratheon is what I
Yeah.
like to call her. I mean, Lady Mormont. Mormont.
But I like her because, first of all, it's interesting to compare her with Minnie Tandy Newton. You know, the first daughter.
Yes.
Very pretty, very beautiful. Just when she dies in that first episode. Spoilers, everybody.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Again, not knowing the game, I felt like that was because I didn't predict that to happen. I assumed something bad would happen, but I did not expect that because you don't usually. Yeah. She seemed like she had main character vibes, like strong main character vibes going on with her.
So that's Thandie Newton's daughter.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense. She looks exactly like Thandie.
Because I was watching it with my friend Russ, the other film mate, and I just said, "Well, that's a mini Thandie Newton." He goes, "I think that's her daughter," and I've seen her in interviews and stuff. She's got the same accent, she's got the same everything, and
that's wild.
But she's beautiful like Thandie. Bella is different. Like Bella just has, and this is why I love casting. And she's not a classical beauty,
right?
She's not a classical beauty. She's got that kind of look that is different and it's unique, and she has a look of defiance about her. Like that's why she's good as Lady Mormont, and that's why she's good in this one. She's got a bit of fire in the veins. She's got it, and you know the first time she gets caught, you know the first time he grabs her in that hallway, she's given him lip right from the start, you know, and I find that kind of casting cool because I'm interested in her. Like this is not like that Thandie Newton character. She was beautiful, you know, and I'm sure she's gonna get more work. But this is someone who I really want to see what she's, you know, what's going on underneath up here. I want to know what's going on in her heart. I want to see how she reacts to these things. I want to show, like, she doesn't and she can't play on Joel's look. I'm pretty. I'm beautiful. I've got this cute. Because she doesn't. She's gonna have to just.
On personality.
And of course, in the back of his mind, of course, is going to be his daughter. And this whole way through, I'm sure we're going to see more flashbacks of her.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe!
Subscribe!
Die. Oh, die.